The Swindon promoter Mark Neilson at a triumphant close to a fantastic Fight Town Swindon bill. Reflections on the evening, Mark?
Delighted to be back, especially with a full house, some great fights on the card, a great opener with Shad Hadri from Gloucester. I mean, the crowd just loved it, right up to the main event with Max Mudway, just raising the roof with selling a couple hundred tickets. So yeah, it's just great to be back after all this time.
And I guess we'll start from the beginning then. So the eagerly awaited debut of Shabir Hadri, I think most people know him as Shabs, fights out of the John Pittman Fight Factory.
Yeah.
Think he could have sold the place out with Max Mudway's help. It's pretty impressive Gloucester contingent.
It is.
What did you make of the support and Shabs' performance?
Well, he's got a great backstory. Afghan refugees coming over a few years ago, just got a permanent residency. He's built up such a massive following, but a lovely lad. He trains really hard. He's at university, and he brought a lot of people with him tonight. But a tough debut. Because matchmaking is so difficult, this Constantine kid is a debut as well, but he's like, I think everyone would agree, he's no mug. He's not come here just to make up the numbers. He was on his debut as well, and he's come to fight. He fancied it, so
yeah,
tough debut.
I think we should do Konstantin Radoy some credit here, and he boxes with Mark Kent down at the Contender Gym, and he trains down at the Scorpion Kickboxing Gym in Swindon. Yeah, and definitely not here to make up the numbers, hard as nails, definitely push Shabs all the way.
Well, that's the thing with matchmaking at the moment, because it's so hard, there's so fewer boxers and so many shows, you don't normally have that kind of fight on your debut. With respect, he's normally fighting some journeymen with not many wins on their record, and it's just probably going through the motions, just getting him used to doing these 4 and 6 rounds. That was a really tough debut for him, but he came through it, right? He's a tough guy. He had him wobbled it a couple of times. He's got some power on him, and I think he's going to be one to watch for the future.
And then moving on then to Aaron Sutton against Christian Hoskins Gomez from Plymouth. Aaron Sutton, of course, with the Sanagars over in Bristol. Hoskins Gomez pulled out after 4, I believe. Just looked knackered, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I think Aaron Sutton, I think he was 10-0 going into that, an ex-white collar boxer. And he looks really good. He looks, he's really stylish, got some real good skills. A lot of the white collar guys, you can tell they haven't got the amateur pedigree, but he looks really good. I think he's one to watch, and I think, Christian was, run out of puff, I think, a little bit, but I think Aaron would have been dominant in that fight all the way through anyway.
Lovely stuff. And on to Megan Redstall from Westbury, again with Mark Kent. Super young, I can't remember her age. I think she's 19.
Yeah.
In against Ivanka Ivanova, who was probably the most unhappy Bulgarian I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Megan got the nod by 2 rounds. I scored it 3 rounds to Megan. Neither hitting each other cleanly often. The visitor more aggressive.
Yeah.
And Megan the better boxer. What was your take on it all?
It was really close, and I think the feedback from around the ring was mixed. I think some people thought Megan edged it, some thought the Bulgarian did. But she certainly came to fight, didn't she, Ivanka? We brought her over here, and that's a tough debut again for Megan. She's like training paramedics, she's a lovely girl, she's got a great following. She's done a bit of Thai boxing.
Muay Thai over in Australia and amateur in Australia.
And she's slick. That was a tough debut for her. But I thought she had it by a couple of rounds. I certainly did, and I think she's going to be interesting to watch, because female boxing sort of going through this renaissance now, isn't it? So there's some great opportunities ahead pretty soon for her, I'm sure.
One that you could possibly do again, do you think, over 6? I mean, would they have it again? Mark Kent, it was a bit close, but it was a very good fight.
Yeah, I think the Bulgarian would definitely had it. I mean, everyone could see that she was expressing how unhappy she was with me before she left the stage.
Did she kick you or the bucket?
Yeah, I think she kicked the bucket. I can't tell you what she said.
Did you get out of the way?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what she said to me because I can't talk Bulgarian, but I can tell you I wasn't very happy. I'm sure she'd be happy back here in a flash, but Mark Kent, I don't think he'd probably want to see that again. I think he'd want to move on, and I'd put that one behind him as a good debut.
And then on to Ryan Wheeler from Frome, in against Brighton's experienced Kev McCauley, who's a bag of tricks, who knows the game inside out. Ryan's super fit, great movement. What do you make of his performance?
Well, he did a job tonight. He's been out for a long time, hasn't he? We know Kevin McCall. I think that was his 241st fight tonight. So he's no fool. He knows. But I think, in fairness, Ryan sort of hurt him a couple of times. But I think Kev as well can just, put it on Ryan and say, don't forget, I know what I'm doing here. There was a little bit of a weight difference. Kev was a little bit heavier than him.
8 or 9 pounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an 8 or 9 pound weight difference. So I think you could see that in there, couldn't you? Because I think Ryan's punches wouldn't have the same effect. But, he's got a good record. He needed to get back in the swing of things, get a win behind him. I was speaking to his manager, Rich Farnan. He's already talking about Southern area titles and potential opponents in the next couple of fights. So it'll be interesting to watch.
And a Southern area attempt that would you mind? Would you fancy promoting that one yourself?
Oh, lovely! I'd just love to. Absolutely, the more titles we can get back in Swindon, the better.
Well, would you go down to the Cheese and Grain Hall? Come on.
Well, he filled up, didn't he, last time he was there? So he's got this great Somerset following. So we'll go. We'll see what the numbers say, and we'll work it out. But he's great to work with. I know Rich Farnan from old, so I'm sure we'll work something out.
Lovely. And so yeah, Luke Watkins, scintillating performance in a 4-3s at heavy. First fight after 2 years against Tyrone Williams, and your take on it first of all.
Well, Luke was just eager to get back. He'd have fought anyone really, because he was supposed to fight 2019. That got cancelled last minute because of an injury. He's supposed to fight on March 20. Obviously, COVID put a stop to that. He just wanted to get back. All we could find him, because of his sort of record and his punch power, it's difficult to get him matched at the best of times, was a heavyweight with a mixed record. He's had a couple of stoppages. So, Luke, it was tricky. If he wasn't on his game tonight, he could have got, if he got sloppy, he could have got caught. But I think it just shows Luke's power, doesn't it? He's a cruiserweight. He came in at 207 against 220 for Tyrone. Yeah. So, and you could see after probably the first minute he's going to trouble him. And he's got some power, hasn't he, Luke? So, crowd favourite, they love him, never in a dull fight. As soon as he comes out, he's got star quality. It's just great to watch. And
for those who haven't seen it, a double right hand in the first round, and that was the end of Tyrone's night. But great to see him back, and he was getting messed around, Luke Watkins, before the pandemic, wasn't he? They were going for some eliminators, and there was fights falling through. Hopefully he'll be back out again soon.
But with cruiserweight, it's a really interesting sort of division at the moment, isn't there? So there's a lot of movement going on, I think. Couple more fights for Luke, just getting ticked over, and I think there's some big opportunities and big money TV fights for him, I think. So let's keep him busy on the next couple of home shows. But I think he wants somebody. This guy came to fight. He was a heavyweight, had done a stoppage. But Luke said to me, "I want somebody better next time. I want a good 50-50. Let's bring it."
Yeah, and he does deserve it after so long, and maybe the Bridgerweight champion of the. And finally Max Mudway. He's had a frustrating lockdown, a new dad, in with Jordan Granham again for the second time, over 6. He said it was his first 6-rounder. Great volume punching performance, great support. What did you make of it?
I think he, you could tell he'd been out of the ring for a little while, looked a bit, his movements were very good, but Jordan just sort of frustrated him a little bit. There weren't a lot of clean punches. I think Max will probably look back on himself and think, and interestingly look back on the video for that fight. But it was a good learning fight for him. His first 6-rounder. Jordan Graham's been around a while. Max was giving away a bit of weight. I think he was like 5-6 pounds, I think, off the top of my head. And against an experienced guy who's only ever been stopped once. But you could tell why. His defence was really good. It's very difficult for Max to get through. But that's a good 6-rounder for Max. I think I was just talking to his manager, John Pittman, and we're looking at titles for him next year. Maybe in a big one at Gloucester.
And do you think that when he moves beyond the journeyman stage, Max Mudway, in with opponents who want to engage with him more, then of course the openings are going to be there. Journeyman is so good at tucking up and minimising the target area. As soon as people want to engage with him, then we're going to be in for some mouth-watering scraps, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. The thing is, it's difficult sometimes to tell with the journeyman because they say they're really good defensively, which is why they're good at their jobs. And you don't really see how good sometimes the home fighter is. So when he gets in there with some of these 50-50s, and when you go to the southern area, there's no easy fights there. They're all good competitive fights. You're going to see a really different Max Mudway. But this, there's a better Max Mudway we're going to see out there, because this has blown some cobwebs out, been out a while, now he's back. It'll be interesting the next couple of months for him.
And yeah, he is going in for the southern area. He does sell a lot of tickets, and surely that's going to help him in a purse bid situation.
Yeah.
You know, so
absolutely.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mark. Take care.